nitrogen. Okay, so so it keeps it in. So it's like inside here, it's like at least negative 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So you know, right now in every breath you take, there's a little bit of nitrogen. Okay, but so at room temperature, nitrogen is a gas. Okay, but one of the interesting things about nitrogen is that if you start making it cold enough, it starts to go from a gas to a liquid. Okay, so in the periodic table, those kinds of fluids have a special name. They're referred to as cryogenic fluids. So another such example of an element that is like that is like helium. So if I got a bunch of helium and I made it cold, then the helium would become liquid as well. And that's kind of different how you usually think about things. So like, for example, something like water, right? When you make it cold, it becomes a solid. But here with this gas, when you make it cold, it becomes a liquid. So it's kind of weird. On the periodic table, there's different elements that, based on their temperature regime, are in different phases of matter. Let it be solid, liquid, or gas. Okay? So this is an example of something that's like super cold, that's a liquid. Instead of solid. It does. That's boiling.
So what would happen if liquid nitrogen were just to float out, that liquid nitrogen float out on the room, it just kind of like disintegrate?
Yeah, it would start to boil like you just saw, and it would also displace probably all the oxygen in the room. I mean, there's probably not enough here for it to expand the oxygen enough, but it could potentially get hard to breathe if that was occur, but that's not going to happen. So.
Right.
So, but those vapors that you're seeing, that's actually the nitrogen boiling. Okay, so it's kind of interesting that, you know, you're used to things that are hot boiling, right? So something like water. So, you know, if water gets really hot, then it's boiling. But I told you this stuff is like negative 200 degrees cold or colder Fahrenheit, right? So this is an example of something that's cold that boils, okay? And it's interesting because the reason why it's boiling is because inside here it's like negative 200 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? And out here it's like 70 degrees Fahrenheit or something, right? So the temperature difference between what the liquid nitrogen feels in here and what's out here is like 300 degrees, okay? So you can imagine, you know, if you took like 70 degree water and you put it in like a 400 degree oven, well, that water is going to boil, right? So that's what's creating this boiling stuff, is because the relative temperature difference between what's in here and out here is so large that when the nitrogen is exposed, it starts to boil. Okay? So that's cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dispense it and start to cool down the superconductors. And when I pour it out, it's going to look like water, but it's not water. Okay, so I'm going to walk around.
That's all the nitrogen just boiling.
It is. So.
Is the gas itself like heavier than just the air?
Yep. Okay.
Sort of, but not really.
If you guys want to record the floating, get ready. Okay. Okay, we recall that when it wasn't cold, right, it would just sit on there? Okay. Okay. Now let's see what happens when they're cold.
Did it freeze here?
It would.
That's why I have the glove.
Come on, though, you're cold. It's so good.
What?
All like guacamole.
Wowzers.
See you, Wiggy Mama.
I feel like a hockey club.
I think the Beyblade.
Okay. So as I told you, when they become cold, no magnetic field can penetrate them. So what I did is I trapped it in the neodymium magnetic field, so now it's floating. Now is it floating, but it's stuck, so it's following the magnetic field. Okay.
What would be like the radius of the field?
Not very large.
Not very large.
Okay. Now let's see if I can. I have a little Lego here.
America.
Idiot.
That's how we got in game.
So, see, it can hold the weight of something, right? You can imagine that you could, physicists discover phenomena, right? Engineers say, how can we use it for our benefit? You can make a train out of this. Not a safe train yet, but we're working on it. So like the Japanese are actively making trains like this.
Can you stack them on top of each other?
Say what?
Stack them on top of each other?
Stack what on top of each other?
Oh, wait, how cool.
Yep,
With
that'd
all
be
this-
like the track.
With all this liquid nitrogen, how could it be safe?
So that'd be at the bottom of the train.
Oh, you're right.
So you can imagine this will just keep on happening. They don't float forever, okay? They only float as long as it's cold enough so that what's referred to as the Meissner Effect is maintained, okay? So the guy who did this experiment originally about 100 years ago, Meissner, he's the one who first demonstrated this phenomenon, okay? So yeah, we can kind of see this one, right? Got too cold. Got too warm. So that guy is done. This guy is starting to fail, kind of. But you can appreciate it. So, superconductors are used other places too. So, have you ever got an MRI, for example? Oh, what's up, man?
Is there like when we make trains out of these, is there a way to like implant a mechanism where it'll dispense liquid nitrogen enough for it to keep moving as long as we need it to?
Yeah, exactly. You can imagine that it's an engineering challenge, right? But naturally, it starts to boil, right? When it hits something that's like warmer than it, you just keep on funneling it around, and when the gas gets formed, you start compressing it again to make it into a liquid. And you keep on flowing this liquid around the superconductor to keep it going like this. Okay. So, but superconductors to be used for MRIs. Google, the search engine company. So how about I say it this way? So, you guys probably use computers for like watching YouTube videos and Netflix and that kind of stuff, playing games, right? Yeah. Like, you can imagine us science and math people use computers to solve like math and science problems, right? So it turns out that there are some math and science problems that our current computers will never be able to solve, okay? But there's a new kind of computer that Google's trying to build called a quantum computer that is based on superconducting phenomena, okay? So you can make a computer based on these superconductors that can solve math and science problems that no other computational mean could do it. What's up, man?
Is that guy stuck to the thing?
No, he's not stuck.
How did you get,
Cool.
like, how did you fill it up? This course?
Because I have friends. Do it live, okay?
Round 2. Sounds like ice.
Okay. Uh-oh, did it get cold enough? Round 2.
Let us achieve. Are we gonna be able to watch
Chicken nugget cheers.
Whoa, that's,
Oh, wait,
Okay.
it's upside
Did you
down.
hurt yourself?
So it's upside down.
No, really?
Oh,
Yes.
Okay. Are you ready for the next spooky thing?
I wish it was like a wheel.
So once it's pinned in the magnetic field, it just keeps with it. We did that, right?
So spectacular.
For all
But
of you.
we can continually just kind of move it. So that's kind of weird, folks, huh?
Yeah. Can you stick stuff in between?
That's the right mentality. Good.
Can you stick a pencil between it or something?
You think I'm faking it? You got a pencil, man?
I mean, all.
You better do it quick, bro.
I got one.
You want to do it? Can you put
Alright, boys, what to do?
Oh my god.
I'm not tricking you, huh?
Oh,
Oh, it got too warm. It's okay. You see, I wasn't tricking you.
wow, you broke it. Stick a dick on a pencil in the nitrogen.
what happens?
Alright, 40, alright.
Too warm.
My pencil back. Is it like cut?
Okay.
Now he's getting ready.
Okay. So I have a single neodymium magnet. Okay. So
Careful.
Can you spin it?
It's fine.
I will. Okay. See, I swung it. So okay. It's hovering. It's sticking in place, and it can spin.
Yeah.
See, it's spinning in place.
Yep.
That's kind of weird.
Why is it doing that?
Science.
Why is it doing that?
Wait, is it leaning on its cover? On the corner? Or is
No,
it
it is not leaning on the corner.
It's getting closer to one of the corners.
If it was leaning on the corner, it wouldn't be able to spin. It wouldn't be
Another
able to
thing
spin
too is when I
right
touch it. See, See how it comes back?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How fast would it take to get frostbite?
I mean, you won't get frostbite touching this.
Because it's getting too warm.
But cool. So it's levitating. It's stuck in place, and it can spin in place too. That's kind of weird.
Science.
So cool. So, and some of the answers of why this is occurring is due to an area of science called quantum mechanics, but oh, it's getting warm. Looks like we're over, guys. Got too warm.
Dang it.